Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday morning mastermind call with Daily Refinement. We do this Monday through Friday privately, and on Wednesdays we do it live on YouTube. Today I want to talk about what's working for resellers, and maybe people can chime in. We're going to be live on YouTube today, so I'm going to look at the chat online, and everybody let me know what's working well for you. Good morning, Louisa. Pull this up. I'll be live on YouTube today, so happy birthday, Jody. All right, we have our chat pulled up. Good morning, everybody. What's working for me? Coffee's working for me. Coffee's been fantastic. Drinking lots of water has been fantastic. I think the last month or so, I've been sleeping phenomenally and just way, way, way more tired. Plus, my wife has had a super busy work schedule, so I've been doing more stuff with the kids. But what's working for me is pretty straightforward. It's just every single day, I'm starting the day when I get to work. First half an hour, I'm just cleaning and organizing and sorting and standardizing things. And this is something that I want. Um, like Tish showed she showed her home and it looked pretty organized to me. But what you would do each day is just try to make the pile a little bit smaller and more condensed. And I actually think it's almost easier to box everything up, put it away, and then just one box at a time. Get stuff out, and then decide what you're going to do with each individual item. Um, Things that you need to do every day, add to a recurring to-do list. I'm using Todoist right now. It's been fantastic because there are recurring things you can put in there. And each day it's super satisfying checking those boxes as you complete them. And little things add up to huge, 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 huge things. I think I'm having my best week ever as a reseller right now. There's just so many different supply chain things that I'm starting to understand. And I'm feeling like the more direct you go to where your supply is, the more stable your resale business is. So the most important possible thing is to have like the knowledge to sell things, sure, but to have the supply chain figured out. It's just I can't stress. Yesterday I was on I had my YouTube channel turned on. What's up, Hudson Resale? I had my YouTube channel on the whole day at the shop, right? And so I had a lot of thinking about what am I actually doing at work? I'm on YouTube. People were asking me questions, and the biggest question was somebody was in college doing five a day, how to get more sales. Now, this is a really, really good question because if you're listing five a day, you can't get more than five sales a day, right? That's sort of the max capacity. But it doesn't mean that you're selling five items a day. So I didn't, for the actual advice I gave to sell more items was not list more items. It was actually make sure you're listing the right items first. That's the easy one. Because increasing your listings, I think people don't understand how difficult it is to increase the number of listings because you're sourcing more, processing more, putting more things away, more space. And then if you're selling items that are too similar, you're actually cannibalizing your own sales. And Hudson Resell is a good example. If you look at their store, a huge chunk of it is just a few brands. That makes it a little bit more dangerous because if one of those brands is off trend, it can make it a little bit more slow. Luckily, they don't just rely on one brand. Luckily, they do not rely on one subset of a brand. They try to do the full gamut. They have tops, bottoms, the variety of sizes. And I've been saying no so much to good product and looking for great product. Meaning like there's so many deals out there that are size extra small, small, um, a little bit let's see. All right. Minor flaws, Things I'm basically looking for stuff that is as clean as possible, and I'm spending the majority of my day looking for it. So yesterday when I was on stream, I'd say I was on stream for um, let's see, about 6 hours. I probably spent 4.5 hours of it reading through different suppliers. There's just a lot of different product. Um, on Sunday, I was doing some homework. I call it homework, but I was hanging out with my wife at Home Goods, TJ Maxx, and I was shocked at how many items there were under $15. Like last time I went to Home Goods and Marshalls, they had more TJ Maxx, they had more expensive premium items. They just loaded up on sub $15 items. I would say that there are some like unique housewares, some unique books, some things that you could actually resell at TJ Maxx. I was looking at the sold, some of the books, like they had big, heavy coffee table books for like 5.99, 6.99. Some of those had comps on eBay of 40, $50, especially the ones that were architectural ones or like some of them are just quite expensive, but they were discounted super heavily at the store. So I went there and then after I went to the Livermore outlet, which is out here, which is where the Gucci outlet, a lot of the outlet stores are about an hour from where I live. So I went there. In 2 hours, I think I went to pretty much every single store looking for ideas to resell. Le Creuset is a like a cast iron place. They have incredible sales. Like you could definitely make $100 profit on one sale. If you were like really desperate for like $100 sale, you could go there and look at the cast iron stuff that's like 70, 80% off. There's only a few pieces, but you can take a discontinued goose pot, which is like $550 retail, that could be 120 at the outlet, right? And it's coming upon that season right now. Somebody is going to be buying this $550 piece for 300 in a month now for holiday season. It's coming. Um, if you guys have been watching my stream, I've been streaming Halloween costumes pretty much 24/7 because that is on trend, right? So um, it's funny because I've sold this brand before and I was selling all the snow gear, but it's not cold yet. So like I'm actually going to save that and sell more Halloween costumes right now because it's more on trend. But at the outlet, there's probably 200 stores. I'll tell you the ones that are the biggest opportunities. I would say number one store is Disney. The Disney outlet was freaking packed and there were so many good deals like on whatnot. Like I think it's pretty like Nicole State is making Disney trend on whatnot big time by having 500 people in her stream every night selling lounge fly backpacks. They have lounge fly backpacks at the outlet. So I actually went there looking and like Lilo and Stitch, it's pretty cute. I'm not super into Disney, so if I was I don't know how many people are here, how many people are into Disney and would know which characters are popular. I would have to start over from scratch and really understand which of these Disney princesses is trending, which ones are a better deal. And this is the part that I want to share with everybody that's really odd. Okay. The most popular characters are almost always the easiest to find. This is the part that's like kind of shocking because they're the most valuable too. So the most valuable characters also have the biggest discounts because they overproduce it. From almost everything that I've seen, like people will say, "Oh, it's so hard to find Ralph Lauren in size large." That's just because a lot of people wear size large. They produce the most size large. They produce the most size extra large. It's just that's how crazy it is. So when you list a shirt that's size large or extra large and it sells quickly, or you sell a full size backpack or a large coat or something, they made the most of those and they still sell the fastest. This is the part that's kind of like out there because you could be like, I'm not going to be one of those resellers that has a variety of brands. You could have a brand like you could have an eBay store called Only Large and just source only large and you'd probably be fine. plugging my computer in. So okay, Disney was huge. The brand Staub. I don't know if you guys have heard of this. Staub. You guys have any questions too? Open Q&A today. Let me know. Um, oh, sorry, I missed the chat. Lauren says the graduation from good to great is a really nice feeling. I agree. When you can say no to good, you've made it. Louisa says, Whatnot is the platform to sell Halloween outfits, no returns. Yeah, I say Halloween outfits are good to sell on Whatnot because there's no returns, but it's okay on eBay. Like, there's going to be a few returns, but like most people are not going to return a $30 costume. Some people do, but it's not that common. I'm sorry, Staub, Staub is more understated. Also, really, really good discounts. I picked up a set of bowls that was selling on eBay for about $50 for 14. The problem was the one at the outlet didn't have the box, which a lot of people on eBay don't care. So if you just go and look at what's trending, ask the people what is selling well, what is not selling well. Discount fragrances is very interesting to me because I wonder how many of them are counterfeit. There's like a lot of stores at the outlet that sell fragrance. So I'd be curious how much of that stuff's actually real. That's a really cool product. Vintage perfumes, colognes sell for a lot of money if you guys see those at the thrift store or a garage sale. More likely garage and estate sales, you'll see like a old bottle of perfume that's 20, 30 years old. Those are worth money. People are looking for those scents. Um, what else is amazing there? A lot of toy stores. So I would say we're coming upon toy season. My marketing guy is helping me make a flyer right now that I can go to some local stores and see if I can do some buyouts. Um, in the right now is when stores have the biggest supply because everybody's getting ready for Q4. So if you make an offer that's reasonable, a lot of people are going to be willing to sell bulk to you right now, especially since worst case scenario, you go to a store that's local to you, and a lot of these stores are dying. Buy a few things at the store, and I don't believe really in trying to do business without buying something or showing some kind of sign that you are a person that does repeat business, buying lunch, going out to eat. Some people really are clueless because I've been to a few different meetings where like I'm helping somebody and I'm also paying, which I always find that really weird because I've never done that. If I want help from somebody, they don't have to give it to me for free. So, but that's like extremely common. So if you are just a person, literally all you do is you're like go to a store, you buy something, and you say, "Hey, if I wanted to buy more than one, is there somebody different I could talk to?" You're already doing better than 90% of people who just walk up and say, "Do you have cheap stuff that's worth a lot of money on eBay that I can sell that I can have for free or pay $1 for?" That's not a good pitch, but that's how 90% of people do it. Jason's asking, is it possible to sell only 100% sell through items that are used at a full-time level? Good morning, everybody. Yes, you can. It just would depend on the category that you're selling. So, as an example, you could pick only seasonal items. That's one way to do it. Like you could pick only Halloween stuff right now for the next 30 days, only Halloween. And Salvation Army, Goodwill, they store their seasonal items and they bring them out at this time. That's how much it's worth it to them. They literally store it for a whole year. So seasonal would have 100% sell through rate. Most popular electronics, popular jewelry, stuff that's on trend will sell within 30 days. Now, the question for me on Jason's question is 100% sell through rate in what time frame? Are you talking about 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? These stupid Batman cars that I bought are now increasing in price because we're getting closer to Christmas. So more people are interested in these. And I am so psyched about promoted listings because you know how people do delist, relist, and they use the most expensive thing they have in their own time to do that, you can just pay for promoted listings and get the same result and don't have to do anything different, right? You could just pay and then use your time to list a new item. That's a fantastic trade. For those of you that are participating in delist relist, it would be more effective for you to list something good and then promote your old listings. Like everybody now, this is expensive, right? You got to pay to play. If you want to increase your sales today, you could just turn your promoted listings up. This is like the biggest realization I had is that you can change the number of sales you have by just paying more. eBay wants to take your money. Does anybody here not agree with that? Um, Thank you, Lynette, for stopping by. She wants to do 70, she sells 75% seasonal, I think. That's a lot. Um, that would require a little bit more space to do 75% seasonal. Kelly says promotions does 9%, sometimes more. It just depends on what category you're in. In a lot of categories, 2%, 3% is enough. In other categories, 10%, and you won't even show up. So your mileage may vary depending on what category. Thrifted Travel is a good resource for those. Yes, she is fantastic. She's always looking for different things on the road that she can get and flip. And I think it's tremendous to focus on what you're good at. Thrifted Travel does a really good job with like going to different cities and states and going to the drugstore, figuring out ways to do it. Lynette does 25% is formal wear, another relatively slow category. Formal wear takes a long time. Brandon is in the Pokemon category. He's saying he needs to promote really high because Pokemon is generally a very competitive category. Pokemon is my favorite category on Whatnot, and I've been stockpiling stuff for a year now. It's not that easy to start a Pokemon stream because you have to have a lot of variety. It's um, unless you are deep into the grading game and you have thousands of slabs to run a Pokemon stream, you need to have a really good selection so people can not get bored and get excited. And um, Pokemon's also a stream where you don't need to show your face. A lot of people don't want to show their face on Whatnot. Pokemon's a really good category for that. It's the second biggest category on the platform. Kelly says some things don't need promotions at all. I think if you are struggling, you should definitely buy things that don't require promotion because promotion is so expensive. You have to pay to play, and that's where you want to offer the best thing that you can. And most of the time, like 60, 70% of that offer is just what item that you're actually selling. Nicole is saying, how high should I promote vintage toys like Barbie? Okay, so this is a good question, Nicole. Vintage Barbie doesn't require any promotion to stand out from the crowd. Everyone got this? You have vintage Barbie, there's not that much of it. Okay. The problem is most people are looking for modern Barbie. Everybody, I hope people know this. Most people are not looking for vintage Barbie. Most people are looking for modern Barbie current season. That's okay though, because if you promote, eBay will recommend your vintage Barbie. That is how you sell vintage Barbie to somebody not looking for vintage Barbie. That happens to people all the time. You go looking for something and there's a used version of it that's cheaper or cooler, and you buy that one instead. And oftentimes it's cheaper. So Nicole, that's a huge one. Vintage Barbie, I would experiment with 0%, and then I would experiment with like 10% because it would recommend it to modern Barbie buyers. And Lauren said she heard a Tony Robbins quote last week: the ultimate resource is resourcefulness. Okay. This is so important. And I want to talk about something that I find really cool. So on the show Top Gear, is this big show in the UK about cars, huge thing, global phenomenon. They talked about having actually making more money from talking about old cool cars than they did about pushing the modern cars. Modern cars are really competitive. You have like a million things to choose from. The margins are razor thin on new cars. I know I'm from the new car business. The new car business is volume. Got to sell as many as possible because people who are buying a Lexus from me also can afford a BMW, they can afford a Mercedes, they can afford a Honda, they can afford two Toyotas. So it's pretty hard. When people say, "What's the reason I should buy a Lexus?" I have to say, because you want it. It's not better. It's the same thing as a Toyota with a better emblem and nicer quality everything. It does the exact same thing as your Toyota and probably is a little bit less reliable because they make a million Corollas and they make 10,000 Lexus ESs. It's the same car, but 10,000 practice repetitions versus a million, that the Corolla is going to last you forever, right? So it's a little bit less reliable and you're paying more money. So really, do you want the emblem? Right? If you want that, if you're looking for the maximum clout, you buy the base model new car. So people think you're rich, but you have none of the options of a rich person. If you are like an educated buyer, you buy the fully loaded pre-owned version. That's probably worth subscribing to my channel right now for that tip. You can get a used car with all the options for less money than the new car with no options, and it's a much better experience. And this is what Top Gear was talking about. There's more money in teaching people about the used cars that are worth money because they're cool. And it's also a lot more satisfying to buy, as weird as it sounds, buying an old BMW for 20 grand, that was $100,000 new, and spending $25,000 fixing it. So think about how crazy that is. You bought a car for 20K, you spend 25K fixing it, more than the car costs. People get more joy from that than buying a brand new one. That's how many people here sell used things. There's so much value in buying a used item. But people who buy new items don't even know. They don't even know that. Your question when you're a new car salesman is always, have you considered a pre-owned car? It's cheaper, might be cooler, might have more options than the new car you're looking for that you can barely afford. I, I can't even tell you how many people I sold a car to that their car payment was $1,700, $1,800, and they make 4,000 a month and their car payment is 1,700. That's super common, right? And I have to tell people like, are you sure you want to spend half of your total take home income on a car? Doesn't really make sense. If you want it, I guess, but like, are you sure? And people are like, for sure, sure. Okay, Jason's saying just starting, but listing 3 items a day, mainly clothing, but also board games, struggling to get more than 3 to 4 sales a week. In the beginning, it can be challenging if you're listing stuff like that. That's not on trend. So, for example, if you're listing 3 Patagonia items a day, you wouldn't have slow sales. So, what I recommend for you, Jason, is to get the better items no matter how much they cost. That's the key. Got to get the good items no matter what they cost at any cost. This is the resourcefulness part. No matter what, you get the good stuff, right? You pay up, you get people in your store. It's super duper duper important. If you're not working on your resourcefulness to get what's great, your store is always going to struggle really hard. Gabby says she has an item that's priced low to sell quickly, and because of that has a flaw, it's almost worse than pricing it at a normal price. Yeah, if you have a used item with problems, a lot of people will ask what's wrong with it, especially if it's price low. Perfect items are much easier to sell. That's why it's worth it in a lot of categories to recondition. Reconditioning really, really, really helps. Gabby has a Comme des Garçons hoodie. I don't know how to pronounce it. Um, cool brand. And people who wear that brand are really trendy. I think they would be more picky about condition. What you need to do is sell that at a flea market to a high school kid who thinks that flaw is cool. Louisa says brand new cars depreciate as soon as you drive it out of a dealership. Of course, that's always the trend of like the trade-off is when you buy something new, it's worth 30 to 50% less as soon as you open the wrapper, even on a regular item. A Stanley is like $55 retail, but if you use it, it's only worth $25. Just how it is. Kathy, good morning. Brendan says, thank you for sharing. You have 50 items listed right now. You're Mercari and looking to scale up more. I like that. So Mercari is a platform. Watch out, Brandon, because it's more front loaded for traffic. So when you load on Mercari, you get more people looking at it right away and then less people in the future. On eBay, it's more steady. And on eBay, you can buy traffic. You can pay for promoted listings. This is the part that people need to understand promoted listings. It's just a way to increase your traffic. It's the same as lowering your prices. It's the same as uh, offering best offer. It's the same as fast shipping, all tools that make it go quicker. On Mercari, you have less tools. That's why I always recommend eBay over Poshmark and Mercari. Not because it's better. I actually think a lot of items sell faster on Poshmark and Mercari. It's just what happens if they don't sell, right? This is the exit plan that I really, really, really like about buying high-end stuff. Rinzi right now is like doing a really good job. Rinzi now on Instagram and on whatnot, they're Rinzi. They buy brand new items and then resell them with high dollar starts on whatnot. And I actually looked at it. I went to North Face on the weekend. And hold on one second. I went to North Face over the weekend and they had like t-shirts 3 for 20. All of those t-shirts they start on their stream for 19.99 or 15.99 for one. So they're already like doing a really good job of just supplying the basic North Face t-shirts. A t-shirt with a North Face logo on the front of it, it's worth $15, no problem. The t-shirt retail is 30. And they're selling 3 for 20 or 3 for 15 at the outlet. As soon as you walk in the door, you could just go to the outlet today and make $5 on whatnot. You could just probably with no following, you could probably just stay online for a few hours and be like, this shirt, $15. Eventually somebody would buy it. That's how popular North Face is. Right. So North Face backpacks, North Face t-shirts, North Face hoodies, all of that stuff is really good. You just can't start it for cheap because it's super expensive. But I feel like the exit plan. So Gabby has a used Comme des Garçons hoodie. That's not super easy to flip if because most people have not heard of that brand, right? But the North Face, that's not hard to flip. If you just discount it, it'll sell. If you buy a North Face t-shirt that's brand new for $5 on eBay, if you list it for $9.99 plus shipping, you could sell it today. That's like a really good deal. Thank you, Jason. I'm glad you watched some videos. Silver Bushman is saying, why does FedEx misquote the price of shipping to my buyers? Most likely because you have calculated shipping. I would use flat rate shipping. The calculated shipping, they add a lot of buffer to make sure that the buyer pays enough money. Because FedEx and UPS, they never want to underquote the buyer and then the seller is surprised. That's why they're overcharging your buyer. So you have to use flat rate or something different to avoid that. Yeah, Comme des Garçons is more money, but it takes a little bit longer. That's the trade-off. Do you want a whole store of cool but less accessible, or a whole store of accessible but not cool? So as an example, Gabby, I would say TJ Maxx, it probably make $1 an item, right? That's very bad. Not very good profit margin, right? But that's they just sell based on accessibility and volume. My wife and I went there, we bought what did we buy? I didn't buy anything. I'm not sure. I don't think, I think we bought 3 or 4 items, just household things, but that's how they get you. You spend $20 to $30 on a couple of items and their ASP is high, no shipping cost. Lisa says she sells pre-owned clothing, purses, shoes, and some miscellaneous on all 4 platforms. On eBay, will sales increase if you offer returns? Yes. Sales increase if you offer returns. Sales increase if you ship faster. Sales increase if you have free shipping. Sales increase if you promote your listings. Go ahead, Vince.
I think this is a good question for the people that don't offer returns. Do you think not offering returns actually stops people from returning stuff that want to return something on
No.
eBay?
So absolutely not. I think if
Yeah.
people want to return an item, they'll return an item. And you get an item not as described. and they'll eBay will accept the return no matter what. And this is also the case on Whatnot. Whatnot says no returns, and then when you buy the item, it says 14-day money back guarantee satisfaction on it. So like no returns in bright letters. When they get it, they still accept a return for any reason. So I mean, it's
Right.
just they know what's the point of telling the customer you can't. They'll just file a chargeback or do something that you know they're going to give people. Your credit card company is always going to give you your money back, so there's no point in offering no returns, in my opinion, unless you feel like you're giving this ultimate experience, which some sellers do. I know a few really good sellers that do not offer free returns. They offer no returns. And I find that shocking. And they will fight to the death to prevent that person from returning it. But I mean,
Yeah.
they're still going to do
I
it.
I I don't like the experience of trying to fight a return. I rather just sell the item again.
Yeah.
It's and a lot of times those really good items that get returned,
Mhm.
they'll sell again within a day or two that I relisted.
Yeah.
So it's just not worth it.
I think you also get the once over again. You get it back, you kind of look at, is there something that I could do
Right.
better you didn't notice, and then maybe you add
Yeah.
another keyword or you even price it a little higher.
I've been able to do that. I actually have sold some items higher the second time at the recommendation of the first buyer.
Yeah, and
Like, hey, this didn't fit, but you know what? I think you should be able to get a little bit more than that for this item.
you can even put that in the description. I've sold this before and I know the worth. And the buyer will be like, "Oh wow, interesting. This person sold it before. They don't know it's a return." So that's like a really unique experience where I think that the listing actually improves the second time you get it because you know more.
Yeah.
Lauren said she realized the blazer was altered after it got returned for the third time. That's one hard part with clothing and shoes. Shoes and clothing all get sometimes they get altered. That's one thing I find interesting about higher end shoes. A lot of them are um, the heels have been modified, especially boots. Um, so you can take a shoe and even the width can be modified slightly. On a good leather shoe, you can kind of stretch it out. So um, we sold some Bruno Molly shoes yesterday, and I could tell with the leather that they were a size 11 regular, but if you had a wide foot, you could alter the shoe a little bit and get in there. But then you have to realize that when you're reselling it, it pays to be a little bit of an expert in your category and know. I've been there are people that work for me that are better at selling Halloween costumes than shoes. They're on the Halloween costume. If you are less educated in your category, my recommendation is price it below market. Let somebody get the deal. If you want to charge full price, you better have full knowledge, right? So the Comme des Garçons, it's damaged, right? I personally would price it below market because I would just say, and I know they have already and they're getting low balls, but I would just explain this one's not perfect. That's why I'm offering my best deal. I've turned off best offer because I already know this is $13 cheaper than a perfect one. So if you're really getting a lot of low balls on an item, I might turn best offer off. That's why when I did my original store, I didn't have best offer because I can't afford the wait. A lot of people apparently have like tons of money that they can wait. I can't wait. I don't want a best offer. I want to buy it right now. The customer wants to buy it right now. They don't want to make an offer. Here's the thing. They're gonna make an offer anyway. You could turn off best offer and turn off returns. People are gonna make an offer anyway, and they're still gonna return it if they don't want it. You might as well have it on. It's just that if you have no offers turned on, it you can tell people in your listing, this is my absolute rock bottom. And it does help convert some people. But then you better actually be cheaper. Um, yeah, if you want full price, like um when I sold cars, a lot of people that were enthusiasts would say, can they would go into the dealership and say, who knows the most about cars? And I want that person to sell me this car because I don't want to buy a car from someone that doesn't know about the car that I'm buying, right? And Lexus actually switched because of this trend where a person would go in and ask, "Hey, I don't. This car is pretty complicated. It has 15,000 parts on it. Can somebody who knows a lot about cars talk to me about it?" Lexus switched to there's two different departments. There's the product specialist department, and then there's the sales department. If you want to learn about cars, you don't go to a salesperson. You want to learn about cars, go to the people who that's all they do. You want to buy a car, that's a different process. It's like um, getting you over the emotional hump of spending the second most expensive thing you've ever bought. I sold a car with 500,000 miles on it. I'm sorry, trade-in. The trade-in was 500,000 miles. The guy had a Jesus, um, what are those things called? Bobblehead, a Jesus bobblehead on his dash, right? He had had the car for so long that the Jesus bobblehead had melted into the dash. It had become one. The bobblehead and the car were the same thing. And he drove the car for like 20 years, 25,000 miles a year. Took really good care of it. The car was completely destroyed, every single part of it. He could not get over the emotional part of this car had been with him his whole life through all these, he just couldn't get rid of it. At the very end, I was like, dude, just keep it. Why are you struggling so hard with trading this car in? It's not worth anything. And you've had it for this whole time. Just leave it somewhere in your garage or something. Don't sell it. You can't emotionally detach from it, but you need a new car. And he just kept it. But he got a new car finally. Um,
That's how I am with my cars, and I haven't even had them half the time as him. But for me, I'm not that old, so I've had them for like a long time.
yeah,
For me,
I love it. No, and it's just like a car is such I don't think anybody needs anything. This is why it's like the weirdest feeling when
that's so true.
you're trying to sell something. You have to be grateful that people are spending money they don't need to spend on things they don't need.
Hmm.
Like you found something at a garage sale for $1 and you are annoyed somebody won't buy it for 20 plus shipping and tax. Like,
You know what's funny? I have a guy messaging me. He's bought two items from me, and he'll message me asking for a deal, and he's saying he wants to buy it to feel better because he's been laid off.
yeah, definitely.
And the reason why I mention it is because a lot of the times people are buying things they don't need to feel good about buying it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that when you have that level of like if you have some stress in your life or some defeat or something doesn't go your way, you definitely want to, retail therapy is definitely real. I thought this was really funny. I was watching a Bill Gates documentary and he's like, when the government stepped in and told me that Microsoft was too big and I had to break up the company I spent my whole life building, like I cried because like obviously I don't need money. So it's not a money thing, but I was just like, I have to break this company up because it's too big. That's even a thing in America. And he's like, all I wanted to do was eat and spend money. This is Bill Gates. He's
He
like,
said all he wants to do is eat and spend money.
yeah. He's like, I got like all I did before was like productive stuff. Like I need to like, feed my family and like grow my company. And I got hit this like milestone where they told me I was too big and had to break up my company. So here I am dissolving Microsoft into smaller whatever. And all I wanted to do was just eat. And there's like one of the most powerful people in the world. And they wanted to feel better. So they eat and spend money, buy things.
Okay, so he had got to a point where he just wanted to feel good, basically do
Wanted to
things
feel
like
good. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. He just was like uh, how I'm gonna feel, how I'm gonna deal with the situation is just consume.
But here's a different level of offer. Like how many people have an offer that will make him feel good?
Oh, make the person that's buying feel better.
No, Bill Gates.
A lot, I'm sure a lot of people. I'm sure like no matter how bad your day is, chicken tenders and fries probably make you feel better. That's why I'm like, why didn't I just open a fried chicken and French fry place or chips? My daughter calls French fries chips, even though she's not British. I don't know what where she picked that up. But but chicken tenders and fries is the feel good food. I don't know if it's true everywhere, but like, how are you gonna eat that and be unhappy? Um,
For
so
me, yesterday it was Chipotle, a burrito from Chipotle.
but I think it makes you feel better
Yeah, definitely.
more than just sustenance. Um, Joe's asking if AI descriptions on eBay help your listings. They can because AI can give you a couple keywords or description that you couldn't have come up with on your own. However, it also humans are pretty good at deciphering what's written by a human and what's not. So generally, long descriptions make it look like a company or AI, and people are kind of sensitive to that. It would be better to do a two-liner that you wrote or use AI to help you with that two-liner about the item. That'll help a lot. Oh, I'm sorry. Jason said he was selling bric-a-brac, a little bit of everything, but now he's switched to clothing, try to learn 100% of one or two different types of items. Yeah, of course. It's way better if you know a little bit. I'm sorry, if you know a lot about a little versus a little about a lot.
I'm,
In
I'm
research. Go ahead, Vince.
that journey is so long because I just listed an item last night. It sold overnight. I knew it was a rare item, but it was like extremely used and but no damage, but very, very used. And so I didn't price it very high. And I woke up and it sold to a person that's bought from me several times that I know is a reseller. And I had another message from someone else saying, "Why am I selling it so cheap?" And they paid like 170 all in. And I'm like, I mean, how much is it worth? Like,
Well, that's the part where like it's still a pair of shoes.
yeah. I was
Yeah.
just like, geez, how much is it worth? Like,
Um,
I still don't know. This is my third time selling the same item. I still don't know how much it's actually worth.
it's worth whatever somebody will pay, I guess. That's the
The unfortunate thing is that it's an item that has like some gray area, so you can't actually get good comps on it. Because when you list it, you can't even put in the title what it actually is. You just have to put that it's a pair of boots,
yeah,
and people will find it. Yeah,
yeah.
and I still don't know what it's worth.
Yeah, that's also a really limited market. So you get to kind of pull the price out of the air, and that is always a art, like and this might be the same for this Comme des Garçons hoodie. Like maybe it's $75 in good shape and yours is in rough shape. If you put yours at $75 and just put in the description, this one has a little more character, that might be better than listing it at 49.99 and saying there's something wrong with it. Like it's just worth whatever. That's why I was saying a high school kid might think the flaw is cool.
Yeah,
And it's like the thrashed look, the homeless look. Sometimes that's the person with money.
yeah,
And that's
and
like
that's a good title. That's a good keyword that you just said. Thrashed.
yeah.
It's a
Uh,
thrashed hoodie.
it's a thrashed hoodie. Yeah. And sometimes the um I've even seen thrash ready.
You know what I like to put? I put naturally thrashed,
Naturally thrashed. There we go. I love it.
naturally distressed.
Yeah,
You know they
this
make factory distress,
yeah,
so
that's right. Naturally distressed is really good.
yeah.
Kelly sold a table on Facebook Marketplace within a few hours of listing it. She bought it for 40 and sold it for 150. That's great. Tables, dressers, bureaus, sofas. These are the main pieces that sell really well on Facebook Marketplace. Gary says it's literally such a minimal stain. Stain is a little different than a hole or rip. What you could do is you could put some bleach on it, and some people like bleach stain all over bleach stain and make it a cool pattern. Depend if you have the cojones to do that, you could stain or like bleach treat your hoodie because that's a brand that is a fashion statement. You're not wearing that brand because of the quality of it. You're buying that brand because it's rare and expensive. Thank you, Jason. Thank you for coming. Um, you can't find the sold listings, Jinx. It's going to be on the left side navigation towards the bottom. It'll say sold listings. But yeah, I'm super jazzed. There's a lot of ways to do this, but I feel like people are willing to pay what they think the item is worth. So you need to fully believe it's worth that much and present it that way, and people will believe you. The flea market was a really valuable experience for me setting. I mean, I didn't really set it up, but watching people set it up. Because this is also something I realized 2 weeks ago when I went to the flea market. That was the first time I watched hundreds of vendors set up. Generally, when I go to the flea market and I get there at 3 or 4 in the morning, the vendors that I go to are already set up. So going and watching people set up from scratch was a different experience. See how people merchandise and how they fit the tables into their car. I cannot believe how many flea market vendors have a car, like not even a van or a truck. This is the resourcefulness part that's incredible.
So I wanted to say, what do you think about this statement? What do you guys think about this statement? The the thrift store and the flea market, it's like I would say the thrift store is more like a junior college and the flea market is like a university for a reseller.
I think so because the junior college is more basic knowledge because it's like it's already sorted for you, right? So it's like blazers 101, jackets 101, right? But at the flea market, you gotta it's like the second, it's like 301. It's harder.
And the human interaction part though, like when you were there, you were looking at various different, all kind of different sellers and buyers. It's like the amount of commerce that's happening is just way more going on that you can pick up things from. You can meet you can meet other sellers at the thrift store too, but you can meet um sellers that are selling and you can negotiate. Um, I don't know. There's just so much at the flea market compared to the thrift store. The thrift store is a lot more calm compared to the flea markets that I go to, and the pace, you don't really see too many people moving at a fast pace in the thrift store.
Mm-mm. No,
But actually, that's like the flea market first thing in the morning. It's like a bustling. Everybody's moving fast because they know items are hitting the floor right now, and nobody's seen them yet. Versus if you go later in the day, maybe it's a whole different vibe, and everybody's selling, the leftovers for cheap.
I can't believe that the flea market I went to on Sunday is $20 before 6 a.m., $15 between 6 and 9 a.m. like $10 between 9 and 12, and then after 12 it's $5. Like if you go after 12, it's basically free because they're not gonna find anything. It's gone already. Um, and they had shopping carts for $5. And that was a really cool way to make money.
That's smart.
At flea markets, I feel like most people don't have enough brand knowledge to supply me with what I'm looking for. Oh, that's interesting. Jason, that is 1000% true. It is your job, unfortunately, to have the brand knowledge behind it. They really don't know. That's actually a good observation. When I went to the flea market, I had to train them to get the brands I wanted. They don't know.
But you can train them just by buying it from them.
You can train them by
They'll
buying it.
remember that they sold it. Like, oh, I bought this item. Somebody bought it from me. If I see it again, I'm going to pick it up again.
Yeah. But that's so true, Jason. They don't know because honestly, if you tried it, you have to go to the Goodwill bins, buy by the pallet or Salvation Army, get this huge load of whatever, right? Or you gotta buy a storage auction, or you gotta go to an estate sale on the last day and fill your truck up with something. Go to the flea market at the butt crack of dawn, set everything up. You don't know brands. It's already so hard to get there. Um, Lauren's saying at the bins when they pull new stuff out, they hustle. They 100% hustle. It's a grind at the Goodwill bins to get anything because people are ready.
Yeah.
Oh, so cheeseburger in the chat saying thrift store is shopping, flea market is hunting. What do you
Mm,
think?
good analogy.
I don't think it's easy. The flea market's not easy. It has
I
the
think
most items though.
a lot more resellers are more comfortable in the thrift store because they can look things up without feeling nervous or disrespectful.
Yeah,
And that's another reason why it's junior college.
true.
It's like bumpers, like reselling with bumpers on. Yeah, take your time, look things up. The flea market is different because the seller can come at you with any price, and then you have like pressure to respond, and
Lauren?
then you have to know how to respond.
Yeah, that's true.
You have to be comfortable with saying, hold on a second. Let me consult with my phone.
For sure. Lauren, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, I was just thinking about that hunting versus shopping. And I guess it's like either way, like your mileage varies depending on what you're starting with, like your knowledge base. I mean, it you're only as good of a reseller as your knowledge base or as your, yeah, whatever product you're selling. Like, I mean, because like I went into a thrift store yesterday and I was able to pick 22 items in 40 minutes.
Yep.
And so it just depends on, and I don't think I really looked anything up because it was brands I was already knowledgeable about. So yeah, I feel like that is like the underlying thing of like the JUCO versus the university. Like either way, your your intellect, like what you're starting with really impacts like your success.
Definitely. That's the and if you've so Jason, most of the people at the flea market are not established. Um I would say that like 80 or 90% of the people at the flea market don't know what they're doing. They do not have any brand knowledge. It's the same as like everything. Only about 4% of people have any consistency, and that's how you develop brand knowledge, right? If you consistently go, you're going to realize, oh, wow. So, for example, the El Salvadorian, right? Salvadorian lady that I buy from at the flea market, um, she knows that bootleg rap tees are a thing. I think this is hilarious. She has a zero idea of pop culture, right? But when she finds a tee and there's a musician on it, right, and it's old, $500. She'll just put it there because why not? right? Because she's not going to get $500 for it, but there's going to be some vintage kid that's like 100 bucks, and she'll sell on it because she has. That's why that's popped up there. But she's there every single week. She's been doing it for 20 years. She has a really good idea now of what things might pop and she can ask more money for. And this is the part that's really wild. Okay. There can be a beat up modern shirt that looks vintage because it just was not taken care of. It's thrashed. And that will sell for $40 because it looks like a vintage t-shirt. But some DIY thrashing, somebody wore it to the point where it looks 20 years old and then perfect. Because people are trying to get that fade on their clothes and somebody did it for you. And it doesn't look right when companies factory distress. You can totally tell something distressed by a human versus by the where they put it in a dish. Sometimes I've seen it. They have like a dryer with rocks in it, and it like messes up the jeans. But that's completely unnatural. When you look at the pair of jeans, you're like, that. Why is the left part of your thigh worn out? Um, yeah, this is right, Lauren. The look versus authentic. That this is why modern pieces are that retro are really successful. This is like Dua Lipa, the artist. None of her songs are original, and it's fine because she just presents it as a retro. It's her take on modern. It's modern classic. Her take on an old classic. Modern classic is the key. That's the word that people should be looking for. Modern classic, a remake of the old one that you can actually find. Coffee and Resell says that his or her local flea market is almost all resellers who do eBay or something similar. Doesn't surprise me. That's a whole world.
But they're at the flea market, so I don't know. I still think there's opportunity there. I have resellers that come to my flea market that are what you would call they're not in the 4% of consistent resellers. And so they're coming to the flea market trying to like make some quick money. And they always usually have some really good items that I have to pay up for, but I can still like double or triple my money really quickly on those items. And they know what it's worth, but they know what I'll pay.
So this is at the flea market. I'll give you an example of hunting versus not. Doc Martens. Most Doc Martens have the yellow stitching, right? And you can kind
Yeah,
of tell it's Doc Marten. I have seen people like I go to a shoe thing at 7 in the morning. So definitely 100 resellers have looked through it already, right? And there is a shoe that doesn't look like the normal Doc Marten that has the yellow stitching that's still Doc Marten, and just 30 resellers didn't get it because the shoe is white or something, and they just didn't. They just passed over it and they missed it, right? And then the opposite happens. There's a non-Doc Marten with yellow stitching that people pick up thinking it is, and then it's not worth anything. But it's like there's just so many different situations where like the number of companies that have copied Birkenstock has got to be in the thousands. There's so many shoes that look like Birkenstock that are not because it's
that's
like a
true.
simple design, right? But like if you've sold 10 pairs of Birkenstocks, you can tell that it's not. Yeah. And Birkenstocks are really weird because people's toes, they're like become ingrained in the leather, right?
Yeah.
And so no matter what you do to it, it's gonna look like Stanley wore it for 3 months. You know what I mean? So it's a weird shoe to resell,
And they sell very fast too.
even with somebody's toe marks in it.
That's
Um,
true. Even when the cork, the midsole is made of cork, even when there's cracks in the cork and you tell them that there's cracks in the cork, they'll still buy it for the right price.
yeah, it's really interesting.
When you were at the flea market, did you notice that people were able to get higher prices than eBay for a lot of items?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
That's very
So
interesting.
yeah,
Um, And I think the reason why is kind of like what I said earlier. Like the seller's going to throw a price at you and you have to respond
Yeah.
and you have nothing to go off of. Like whereas with shopping online, eBay is literally showing you like 10 similar items while you're looking at
Yep.
one. So it's, at the flea market, you can't see the price of whoever has similar items while
Yep.
you're looking at that item. And then the personality of the seller is also influencing you.
So I'll give you an example of that. John, I went with John, the guy that does a clothing call last flea market. He had a Bruce Lee t-shirt. Bruce Lee had a studio here in Oakland. So it's cool. People really like Bruce Lee here. He's already popular. Plus, he was a local here at one point. John had a shirt priced at $80 in his booth, right? And this is the eBay part that's really cool, right? Because I was with John all day. This guy comes up with his phone, right? Clearly, he's going to say, this shirt is on eBay for cheaper. We could both sense it, right? So he walks up, and this is what John says. What'd you find out? And the guy says, oh, I found out this Bruce Lee shirt is $35 on eBay. Why are you charging 80? Right? And John said, because it's the only one at the flea market. And he sold it 80 bucks, full price, $35 on eBay. Here's the part that's really funny. He was also the $35 listing on eBay. It's just like it's just so like perfect because like it's just different. It's different because like you had like but that whenever the seller is not afraid that you're looking it up on eBay, then that's just a smart seller. They've already been there and done that and they
Yeah,
know that.
exactly. And that's why I encourage people not to feel any way like handle your business. If you need to look something up, look it up. If the
Yeah.
seller wants to sell it, they're gonna sell it. If they don't, they won't. Like it doesn't change anything. In fact, it
So
actually gives you more leverage as a buyer.
100%. The because some of the buyers because John sells wholesale. So you could get that shirt. You could buy 10 of them or something. Um and maybe the wholesale price is like $15 for that shirt. And you could sell it on eBay for 30 plus shipping, or you could sell it at the flea market for more because chances are you're going to be the only one that has it. So John was saying that there are people walking around the flea market, like the kid who bought it, that are looking for a piece for their wardrobe that they want to wear, right? They don't care what it costs. They're not looking for any, they're not looking for the best price. They're looking for something to wear, right? This is
Right.
a different customer.
Yeah.
And it's cool that he paid 80 at the flea market.
Hmm.
Maybe for him, it's less cool buying it for 35 on eBay because he's like, just different. Then you found
Right.
it at the flea market's a way better story.
That's true. And a better feeling because if you're hunting for something and you find it, you feel satisfied. Like, have you guys ever been actually shopping for something, looking all stores and stuff, and you don't find it? It sucks.
Yes. And then if you find something that you really like, it is really hard to say no.
Yeah,
So like, yes, you could go online and buy it, or you could just literally have it right now. And yeah, I people pay a huge premium for the experience, and I thought it was cool watching John's prices because like the kid bought one shirt. He didn't say so. Coffee and Resell says the problem is being able to buy in that situation for a profitable flip, right? So here's the thing: the kid walked in, saw the Bruce Lee shirt, and for $80, and said, "I'll take it." Another dude probably said, "How many of these shirts do you have, and what can I pay for it?" Right? It's different. Same shirt. One person bought 100 of them for $15. One person bought one for 80. Every single shirt that he had more than one of. So, but if you don't ask, you wouldn't know. And it literally says wholesale inquiries right there.
I think we should all be trying to think because we're not flea market sellers, but based on this information, I think it's a good idea for us to be thinking about how we can get people to to be willing to pay more for our items, even though eBay is showing them someone else has it for cheaper?
You know, when I first started on eBay in California, it was 2014. I went to Lexus and they told me I applied because they wanted me to list cars on eBay. And I asked my boss, should I turn best offer on? Because it's a car, right? And he said, isn't that implied? And I was like, no, it's literally not implied. There's literally a button you turn on or off. He's like, oh no. He's like, I don't care if there's a button or not. They're gonna make offers. And I was like, no, they're not. 'Cause I was just like, they can't even make an offer if I don't turn this button on, right? But that's not true. Like that's the part. He's like, on eBay, the rules are you can make it because you can DM somebody. The rules are you can make an offer no matter what.
And that's true. And I think that turning best offer off, um, it's implied more value. It's more exclusive because you can't just, you you have to put in more effort to make an offer. You either have to buy it or you have to think of something to say to the seller, even if it's just that, what's your lowest price or whatever. It's just more exclusive.
You know what's funny? I've never seen somebody put in their listing no best offer even through messages.
Nah, I haven't either.
No, but
But
somebody still might be like, I know you said no offers, but what about 20 bucks
yeah,
off?
and they will. Yeah.
Copy and Resell says you sell flea markets to liquidate or flip small stuff. Your local flea is low class and low middle class. It totally depends on the uh demographic what you should sell at. So this is interesting too, because I would say that the three flea markets that I've gone to now that are the closest to me, the Alameda Flea Market once a month is the high end clientele. You can charge a lot, right? Full price. A collector will go there and pay full price. Now, it's the worst flea market to buy at because they know that, right? At the low end flea market, the lowest end one that we have, which is a Coliseum, that one's open 7 days a week. It's a lower end customer. You can get a good deal there because they don't have the clientele to support a higher price.
So
So
so what happens is that the sellers from the higher end flea market, they regularly shop at the lower end flea market and then they
that's
wait till the big day and they sell the items there. Whereas the sellers at the lower end flea market, they don't have, for whatever reason, they don't want to wait to sell the items. And so they go to the the always open flea market at, you know, the worst times possible. Like remember when there was when you would like go on TV like on a school day and there was like nothing, like it's just like not the time to be trying to sell items for expensive.
that's
Tuesday morning, everybody's at work. Who's
yeah,
there? Who's your customer resellers?
yeah. That's knowing your audience is massive. Um, Spirit says in the old days, people used to barter and trade and offer all the time. Okay, so I'm an idiot and I haven't done the shopping early in the morning before at this Alameda flea market. When I was walking around, because okay, so it costs the most money to get in there before 6 a.m., which is crazy to me. That's so early. Can you imagine? You got to pay the most money to get there before 6. Already there's like so few people there before 6, but they're all serious. So we got there at 3:30. I was walking around and a guy asked me, are you set up? And I had no idea what that meant. I thought he meant like, do you have a gun? I have no idea what. But he meant, do you have a booth? Because the people he was trying to see, because I realized all the people that were walking around before 6, they also have a booth.
Yeah.
You already have socks?
Yeah, these are pet socks.
They're pant socks?
Yeah.
And so yeah, you were giving him vibes that you were a seller, so that's why he was asking you.
Yeah, because the prices are different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so I didn't know what to say, so I just ignored him. But I should have said, I don't know what that means. You were saying you have a booth. So one last question. Andrew Kim is saying thoughts on selling new luxury items on eBay. I'm a big fan of selling luxury items on eBay, especially with the new authentication program. And I think it's going to become better and better because entropy is changing the game. Like on TikTok, you can't sell a luxury item without authentication. You can't ship it. They won't let you have the label until you upload an authenticity guarantee. So I think hopefully eBay can improve because eBay is kind of slow on the luxury item category, but there's a lot of buyers. But they're hopefully the authentication gets better on eBay because eBay is known for moving a lot of fake luxury items, and it makes it harder. People don't trust eBay as much. The
Yeah.
authentication program has helped a lot, but they dropped the ball on that. There would be no the real and all these companies at eBay did a really good job with authentication because that's the most traffic. So Andrew, the answer is the most traffic is on eBay, but it's not necessarily the highest quality traffic because they're worried about authenticity. Um, so the last comment is Copy and Resell says that regulars descend on new sellers at flea markets 100%. If you're a brand new flea market vendor, there will be old G's there trying to rip you off.
Yeah.
That's
They're
part of
gonna
coming.
swarm you like pigeons, eating some foods.
Yeah, they're coming in. That's why it's
That
important to get set up. So guys, there is a beginner call that happens after my call every morning, and Carrie does it. So if you guys have any beginner questions, you